The Russia-Ukraine war is supposed to be wrapping up. Multiple rounds of peace negotiations have taken place. The US is hosting more talks over the weekend. And this is all to come to a final settlement. But instead of winding down, the war seems to be expanding.
All right, buckle up. Picture this. It's 5 hours, pitch black, over-occupied Kherson. The kind of quiet that's not quiet at all. It's tense, electric. The calm before a storm everyone knows is coming but can't see. 6 Ukrainian Beaver drones lift off from a field near Kherson. They're not much to look at. Commercial parts, electric motors, cheap carbon fiber. Total cost for all 6, maybe 120 grand. A rounding error in the Pentagon's budget. Their target? A Russian airbase north of Slive-Stol, hosting several ultra-rare BE-12 mail planes, antiquated but priceless Russian naval reconnaissance aircraft. Taking them out isn't just a tactical win, it's a psychological sledgehammer. But between the Beavers and their target sits a gauntlet of Russian air defense. So thick, so layered, it's supposed to be impossible. This isn't just a story about drones. This is a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. How 6 slow, low-flying widgets exploited doctrine, physics, bureaucracy, and human error to beat systems worth billions. This is the Dawn's breakdown. 12 kilometers out from the launch point, a Russian Tor M2 missile battery sits on a slight rise, state-of-the-art, mobile, lethal. Its radar operator sees 6 green blooms pop on his screen. 6 drones. He's got 16 missiles in the racks. Doctrine says 2 missiles per target for a 90% kill probability. Simple math, he can SWAT all 6 down and still have missiles to spare. But the Ukrainians aren't playing his game. They're playing chess while he's counting checkers. The first pair of Beavers does something insane. They climb fast. Their little electric motors scream, pulling max current, creating an electromagnetic signature that lights up every radar within 20 kilometers. They're not hiding, they're advertising. They're the magicians waving left hand, the dramatic flourish you can't look away from. 30 seconds later, a second pair launches from near Berislav. These guys go low, skimming the earth, their thermal cameras painting the dark world in ghostly grayscale. The final pair? They don't move. They wait. Engines warm, counting down on a timer set weeks ago by a planner who understood a fundamental truth. Air defense systems, like people, can only focus on so many threats at once. The Tor commander now has a split-screen nightmare. 6 targets, 3 different vectors. The northern pair is at 500 meters, screaming, "Shoot me!" in radar pulses. The middle pair is at 100 meters, boring south like they own the sky. The southern pair turns away, southwest toward nothing. It makes zero tactical sense. His brain, trained on doctrine, short circuits. He goes for the loudest threat. The launcher whirs north. 2 9M, 338 missiles fire. Each carries a computer smarter than your phone, calculating intercepts for targets moving 150 kph. For 8 seconds, they fly blind on ground data. Then their seekers go active X-band radar flooding the sky. Click. That's the sound of the trap springing shut. The northern Beavers warning receivers hear the radar shift from search to track a pulse rate skyrocketing from 300 to 1,800 per second. They've taken the bait, they don't gently descend, they plunge. Nose down, trading every foot of altitude for life. The missiles, programmed for a high-altitude intercept, are suddenly diving at 60 degrees, pulling 30 Gs. Airframes groaning. At 20 meters off the deck low enough to clip street signs, the Beavers level out. The missile seekers now stare into hell. Ground clutter. Fence posts, roof tin, puddles, a tsunami of radar returns. Their Doppler filters, designed to pick jets from empty sky, are utterly overwhelmed. It's like trying to solve a calculus problem while sprinting through a hurricane. 12 seconds later, confused and defeated, both missiles self-destruct. The Tor crew, now rattled, swivels to the southern pair. They're gone. Not destroyed. Vanished. To the radar, they teleported. Here's the boring brilliance. They found a gap, a radar shadow created by a gentle valley southwest of the battery. The Tor's position on a rise gave it great coverage except in one tiny slice. Between 30 and 50 meters altitude, for a lateral space of just 400 meters, the radar was blind. The drones threaded this needle at 35 meters, operators flying by, GPS coordinates memorized like a sacred text. one wind gust, one miscalculation, and their neon signs. But Ukrainian drone pilots have PhDs in threading needles. This was Tuesday. Now panicked, the Tor's assistant operator takes initiative. He launches 2 more missiles at the middle pair, this time programmed for a low-altitude kill from the start. They streak out horizontally, like cruise missiles. The middle Beavers detect the launch and do something that isn't in any manual, Russian or Ukrainian. They turn and charge the battery. Maximum throttle, diving for speed. They aim themselves directly at the Tor launcher. This isn't bravery, it's cold, hard math. The Tor M2, for all its power, has a fatal flaw. A minimum engagement range, about 1 kilometer. Any closer, and the missiles can't arm their warheads, a safety protocol to protect the launcher. It's a boxer with a killer jab who can't fight in a phone booth. The Beavers will be inside that 1 km bubble in 36 seconds. The inbound missiles, programmed to intercept at 3 kilometers, now have their silicon brains melting. Their targets are accelerating toward their own launch point. The missiles try to reverse course, pulling impossible Gs. One missile's control surfaces rip off, sending it tumbling like a lawn dart. The second manages to turn, but is now heading back over its own battery. The safety protocol triggers again. Self-destruct. The shockwave rocks the Tor vehicle. The Beavers hum on, untouched. They have just beaten a cutting-edge air defense system. Not with stealth, not with jamming, with physics and psychology. The creativity of the resource poor, but the mission's only halfway done, and Russia has a metric crap ton of resources. At 0517, the 6 surviving Beavers cross into deeper occupied territory. Immediately, the world gets harder. A Buk M3 battery at Novokakhovka has been watching them for 6 minutes. This isn't a unit caught napping. It's dug in, prepared, commanded by a veteran who's been at this for 3 years. It launches without any warning sweep, missiles leap out, but they don't arc up, they go flat, skimming the treetops. The Buk is using its nightmare trick, track via missile, TVM. The missile itself becomes a forward radar relay. Think about that. A 700 kg projectile screaming at you at Mach 3 is also painting you with radar and feeding data home. It's hunter and spotter in one, ending its mission by exploding in your face. The Ukrainian operators have 18 seconds to live. The lead operator spots salvation, a massive grain elevator, a concrete mountain on the landscape. He dives, aiming for the narrow gap between the elevator and its loading bay. The missile tries to follow. It's built to kill jets, not navigate an urban canyon. It smashes into the terrain. The explosion is massive. Through the smoke and debris, 5 Beavers emerge. One was clipped by shrapnel. The Buk commander is furious. His system can track 36 targets, engage 6, but the Beavers aren't playing by his schoolbook rules. They do something diabolically simple. They cross paths. Their radar returns merge into one blob, then separate. The Buk's computer, trying to maintain individual tracks, is in constant recalculation lag. It's a shell game where the shells move themselves. The Buk tries to switch to its electro-optical backup, but in the pre-dawn haze, thermal signatures are faint. By the time the drones appear as white dots, they're already inside the minimum engagement envelope. The Buk goes quiet. Emission, silence. The commander radios in. 5 UAVs continuing south, unable to engage due to technical limitations. Military speak for they outsmarted us. At 0535, the drones enter the realm of the S-400 Triumph. This is the boogeyman. Designed to swat ballistic missiles from the stratosphere. 400 kilometers. Its 92 N6E gravestone radar can track a golf ball at 200 kilometers. Its missiles pull 20 Gs at Mach 14. Using an S-400 on these drones is like using a railgun to hunt mosquitoes. But the S-400 at Selidov has a secret. A hilarious, embarrassing, classified software glitch from 2007 that nobody ever fixed. Its velocity gate filter, the software that separates real targets from birds, was hard-coded to ignore anything moving slower than 100 kilometers per hour. Not adjustable, not overridable. A digital tattoo, 3 Beavers slow to 95 kilometers per hour. To the S-400's billion-dollar brain, they cease to exist. They become sensor ghosts, flickering on and off the screen like a bad signal. The radar operator is losing his mind. They're there, now they're not. But S-400 seconds don't work alone. Short-range Panzer S-1 systems are already scrambling from Slivestol toward the airbase at Kacha. They'll be there in 8 minutes. The race is on. Then the ultimate unforeseen ally arrives, Russian red tape. A routine Russian military transport flight, carrying 180 troops from Moscow, begins its descent into Slivestol. Its flight path is exactly the vector the Beavers need. The S-400 has another hard-coded rule: no engagement within 5 kilometers of a friendly transponder. A safety protocol written in the blood of past fratricide incidents. The 3 remaining Beavers tuck in behind the transport plane, hiding in its radar shadow and electronic wake. Not close enough to be a threat, but close enough to be untouchable. For 8 glorious minutes, they are shielded by Russian bureaucracy. You can imagine the radio traffic. The air defense commander screaming for the plane to be diverted, air traffic control screaming back about procedures, the pilots confused. While they argue, the Beavers slip through the kill zone.